to stop making different throws. Patrick supported him, and Mike told his assistants to get some rest. The loaf asked Oliver for forgiveness for possibly denting him, to which the guy replied that everything was fine. The man praised the student because in an hour he mastered a basic set of techniques when others take weeks to do it. But the future fighter believed that this was not enough for him, because it is unlikely that in a real fight the opponent would also stand and wait until he was knocked over. Mike recommended that he rest first, and then they would learn submission techniques. The main character noted that today he made more than 200 throws, but the system has not yet given him the task. He will probably have to upgrade his fighting skills using his own strength without additional boost. Watching the streamer improve, the coach noted that people like him are doomed to success. He said he would sneak up from behind and the student would try to pick the right moment, turn around and throw it. From the first time, Mike saw the enormous speed of his student's hands, but this did not help him much. Batten was almost throwing the coach onto the mats, but the usual scenario did not work, because the man grabbed his arm and used one of the simplest painful techniques. He noted that without studying painful techniques in jiu-jitsu, you will not get anywhere. It is hellishly difficult to defeat an opponent with just throws. So in order to put an end to the fight, he must be forced to collapse in pain. After this theory, the coach suggested the guy try it on his own. Batten tried to do the same as Mike showed, and he said that he was doing everything right. Suddenly, a board appeared in front of the main character with the task Painmaster, where you need to defeat the enemy 1,000 times using painful techniques. He was very happy about this gift from the system, and without noticing it, he almost broke the coach's hand. While the student was wondering why the system didn't give him the throwing assignment, Mike was still in severe pain. Since the trainer was experienced, he used a leg hold against the main character. This capture forced the guy to come to his senses and exit the system in which he was studying the tasks. Mike asked why his student didn't lower his hand when he said this, asked if Batten wanted to break it. The streamer scratched the back of his head and said that he was thinking about his own things and did not hear the coach's voice at all. The evil master only said that during a fight, you need to think only about the fight. In his heart, he didn't understand what was happening, because this guy had only been training for 2 hours, and Mike was very scared when he twisted his arm. If the main character had applied a little more force, he would have gotten out of it. Mike decided that today's lesson was over, but the student did not like it. He reached his hand towards the coach's back to draw attention to himself, and he thought that the student wanted to beat him again. Batten just wanted to say that he wants to master painful techniques to the fullest and train them for double pay. The coach was shocked by this statement and asked if his ward was still tired. He didn't even know how to teach this guy more dangerous techniques, because he was a beginner and did not feel well the weight of others and his own strength. But then the idea came to him that he would call Tyler, a trainer who specializes in submissions. A couple of minutes later, a black man entered the hall and said that he had been asked to be a sparring partner for Batten. The streamer apologized in advance for suddenly hurting him, but Tyler was ready to endure it for payment at double the rate. After this phrase, the main character immediately grabbed the trainer to practice another painful hold on him. Tyler asked him to pay attention to how he responded by grabbing his arm and going for a submission hold. The student noted that the coach has an excellent reaction, and his observation allows the guy to learn instantly. In one easy motion, he throws Tyler onto the mats, thinking the workout will be easy. Already lying on his stomach, the sparring partner said that only a few managed to keep him on the floor. The thing is that in such situations, others give up from pain or fear of injury, but not Tyler. He asked Batten to treat him more harshly and asked if he had any strength left or if he wanted to lie down. The guy mentally noted that his mentor was a tough nut to crack and would have to work hard before cracking it. The black trainer stated that a good submission requires speed, accuracy, and toughness. The streamer is doing well with the first two components, but it lacks rigidity. 10 minutes into training at full power, Tyler was already howling in pain. But the student did not calm down and did not react in any way to the request that he should stop. The coach said that Batten was not a human being, and if he had understood what he was getting into, he would not have agreed to the triple tariff. An hour later, the Painmaster task awarded the main character 221 points out of 1,000. After this time, Tyler, like Mike, said that that was enough training for today, and added that he usually has no difficulty in getting out even when several people are holding him. The streamer offered to pay 5 times the usual rate if the double rate was not enough for the trainer. He replied that it was better to leave the previous prices and stated that he was much more exhausted than his student. Then John offered to go out to eat at his expense, unless, of course, Tyler still had classes. Coming out of the hall, they saw many young girls crowded around another coach. They asked the young guy if he would conduct additional training tomorrow. Tyler explained that this is a taekwondo coach from Korea, the main handsome man of the martial arts center. He can be considered a star among trainers. The entire female clientele is here just for him, and he understands this very well. Batten asked that since this Korean coach was showing off so much, why couldn't Tyler resolve all the issues with him in the gym? In response to the assertion that he was afraid of the Korean, The black man angrily declared that he could easily defeat him with just his left hand. But it was a business, and this star-studded Korean brings serious money to the center, thanks to Girls in Love. But ordinary coaches like Tyler just need to understand their situation and accept what is happening. After this phrase, he suggested going to the cafe because he didn't want to see this asshole. When the guys were almost at the exit, the girls suddenly realized that Batten was in the same center with them. The student, having heard that girls could not stand him, did not understand what was happening here. The coach also paid attention to him and realized that this was the same bastard who disgraced Himchan a few days ago. He blushed and ordered Batten to remain in place, while he himself angrily walked towards him. Grabbing the guy by the shoulder, the coach asked if it was true that the main character was standing in front of him. He said that they did not know each other, but he had heard a lot about the student. His name is Tae-jun. He came from Korea because this center needed a top coach. From the conversation, the master realized that his enemy was training in the hall where taekwondo classes were being held. Tae-jun knows him because he saw a video of Batten sneakily beating his fellow countryman Himchan. In the comments to that video, some began to write that Koreans are weak, that one American gave bream to 3 Koreans and the like. Today the chance has come, and Tae-jun has met the offender, so he challenges him to a fight to avenge his compatriots. In another way, one could say that the Korean wants to beat the main character. The student has every right to refuse the fight, but then he will have to admit his cowardice. The words that the streamer defeated Himchan only because he attacked from behind infuriated Batten, and he said that the idol fully deserved the blow to his face. The coach claimed that the victim came to this country as an invited guest, and he publicly humiliated him. It was not yet known whether he really hit that fan. The girls confirmed that this video was fake, because they believed that their idol could not hit the fan. They wanted the coach to teach the guy a lesson. Suddenly, Batten loudly declared that he was not a coward, and punished Himchan for his deed and did not regret it. And to the cries of the crazy girls, he replied that they were completely crazy about their Korean idols. Tae-jun said to stop making excuses and decide whether his opponent accepts the challenge or is a coward. The main character asked Tyler if he would be imprisoned for accidentally killing a Korean. The blonde heard this question and jokingly asked who he was going to kill there. He said to stop chatting and follow him, because soon the streamer would be recording an apology for Kim Chan on camera. When Tyler's student left, he only wanted him to be gentler in battle, because this is the tree on which their money grows. Although the black man didn't care about him because he himself had long dreamed of putting this asshole in his place. Perhaps Batten would make his dream come true. Before the fight, the opponents stood a few centimeters apart from each other, looking straight into their eyes. At this time, Mike appeared in the hall, who immediately realized that things were going very badly. He asked what Tae-jun was doing, and he replied that his opponent had already accepted the challenge and asked him not to interfere. Mike stated that the Korean could not defeat him and offered to talk to him instead. Tae-jun would apologize, and they would separate like ships at sea. The blonde replied that the guy with pink hair is the only one in this center who can at least do something against his powerful kicks, and the rest of the trainers are shocked by his technique. But if the Korean only knew that other coaches play admiration only because they laugh at him, and there is hardly a coach in this center whom he would defeat. The taekwondo fighter promised that he would not beat his client too much, so he would remain alive. But Mike understood that Tae-jun could simply lie under the skating rink or in the guillotine. The result would be the same. Soon he began to think the same way as Tyler, that is, for Batten to put this star in its place, and he realized his real level. Resigned, he practically begged his student to be gentle with Tae-jun and not break him too much. By the start of the fight, Mike's assistants also came to the hall, and they immediately realized that the taekwondo coach wanted to avenge Himchan. If he wanted to take revenge for that scoundrel who hit his own fan, then Patrick dreamed that the main character would destroy him. Before the battle, Tae-jun was firmly convinced that he would soon shut the mouths of all these haters. Since they were practicing different martial arts, at the beginning, the streamer was simply defending himself. Tae-jun thought that no one could counter his super kicks, so he didn't fight with his hands at all. During his defense, the student noted that this Korean kicked quite painfully. The blonde stopped for a second to tell Batten what a coward he really was. After that, he immediately raised his leg for a crushing blow and asked where his opponent would dodge this time. At that moment, John realized that this was the perfect moment to grab him, and grabbed his left leg. Instantly, the Korean fell face first to the floor, causing vibrations to spread throughout the entire room. That wasn't all, and Batten used his favorite submission move on Tae-jun, causing the blonde to scream in pain. When the guys separated, the taekwondo player was not in the mood to lose. He decided to act in a different way. Tyler managed to shout to the streamer that he was in danger where he did not expect it. It turned out that this arrogant Korean also decided to hit his opponent on the sly, just as he did with Himchan. Thanks to the protagonist's lightning-fast reaction, he managed to grab Hyejun's leg right next to his face. Falling face down on the floor again, the blonde didn't understand how the guy managed to react to such a sharp blow from behind. The others didn't understand how he could be a coach and not observe military morals. He doesn't even know how to lose with dignity. The enraged Batten was already throwing his opponent with all his might, trying to squeeze all the juice out of him. Hyejun fell many more times, waiting for Mike to intervene in this fight. The streamer's support group shouted that the Korean had a chance to take advantage of a painless defeat, but he missed it. The trainer approached the client and said that such throws could cause bad things to happen to his colleague. According to the hero, their battle was not over yet, and besides, he did not even know how to end it correctly. If the guy stops and walks away, the blonde can then say that his opponent fled the battlefield and he won, and considering how rotten a person he is, he will do just that. Throwing his opponent to the floor again, he asked what he should do in this situation. Hyejun was just hoping for help from his colleague Mike because if he didn't help, the blonde would really die soon. Mike understood that, on the one hand, this was what he needed, but on the other hand, for their center, it was a most valuable asset. It was necessary to act now, because Batten again headed towards the opponent. The trainer blocked his way and began counting down 10 seconds as the fighter was lying on the floor. Already losing consciousness, the Korean heard this score and was very happy, because he was literally saved. The man did it so quickly, from the accelerated counting to the announcement of the victory of the main character, that the student himself did not even understand what had happened. Mike immediately asked to urgently call a doctor for the half-dead Hyejun. The black coach even announced that starting today he is joining streamer Batten's fan club. Suddenly, the system gave the streamer the throwing tyrant task, to complete which you need to defeat your opponents with throws 1,000 times. This confused the guy because he had already made throws many times and the task appeared only now. He decided to figure out this task later, because he thought that he would have to throw a person until he lost consciousness every time. Tyler again suggested that his student cool down a little and finally go eat. The main character replied that he was not that furious. He was even grateful for this provocation, because then he would not have received a new task. The coach still didn't understand him and asked if his head was clouded with anger, or maybe he was afraid that he had hurt him badly. The streamer no longer knew what to answer, so he blurted out that he was simply worried about his health. According to the black man, this fool was afraid that he would be killed, and now he's pretending to lose consciousness. When the doctor applied all the necessary bandages, Hyejun began to slowly come to his senses. Everyone understood that this blonde was simply pretending, and Oliver noted that he managed to play the loss of consciousness very naturally. Mentally, the Korean sent everyone looking at him and already admitted that he had deeply disgraced himself. For him now, it was better to lie with his eyes closed so as not to cause trouble. Mike publicly announced that the show was over and everyone could go their separate ways. The girls who saw this fight immediately realized that they urgently needed to look for a new coach, because Hyejun was so attractive, but also useless. When everyone left the hall, Mike told the blonde that he would stop pretending. There was no one left to look at him. The half-dead taekwondo fighter said that his colleague was obliged to avenge him, but he replied that the Korean himself challenged him to a fight, and he should have thought about the consequences earlier. In addition, the head coach warned that Hyejun would not defeat Batan, but he did not listen to anything. Their dialogue was interrupted by Robin, who ordered the blonde to admit defeat and shut up before he broke his neck. Mike turned in his direction and fearfully asked why Robin came here. Without giving an answer to this question, the man with long hair asked where this student was now. The colleague replied that the streamer had already left and asked if he also had any complaints against the guy. He only replied that these claims had nothing to do with his Koreans. He had just wanted to punch this Batten in the face for a long time. At this time, Kathleen was in her dorm and was thinking about how fast her boyfriend was running now. She couldn't catch up with him even when she was doing her best. And I also thought that the cold would soon come, and I would need to knit something for him. When she returned to the room, her friends said that the main character was again making waves all over the internet. The news was that an art academy student assaulted a martial arts trainer. The girl didn't understand when the streamer managed to sign up for martial arts, and even at the very center where her brother works. Something urgently needed to be done, and Kathleen called Batten first, but he did not answer the phone. Then she called Seventh Brother and asked if he was at his martial arts center now. He responded positively and asked if she was calling because something had happened, or if she was just bored. She said that she wanted buns that were sold in a bakery near their center and asked her brother to bring them. In response to the answer that the bakery only opens at 8:30, the girl said that she wanted to eat right now, and the brother replied that he would bring something within half an hour. Half an hour did not suit her, because it was no more than a 20-minute drive from the center to the hostel. Already running towards the center, Kathleen begged him to come quickly, because she would soon die of hunger. Without noticing, she slammed the door to the dorm, which made her neighbors think that something serious had happened. But her brother understood that she didn't want to eat at all because he had known her for a long time now. It will take him 20 minutes to get there, but he has another business in the center. The man considered his sister poor because this idiot had such a bad influence on her that she started lying. The master was going to beat the hell out of this bastard in a couple of minutes and go get some buns. Robin entered the hall and ordered the little black one to leave him alone with Loaf. The guys stopped training, and Tyler asked what their best coach was up to. He repeated once again that he had already said to leave the battlefield and asked if his colleague was deaf. Tyler told him that if he wanted to avenge the Korean, then he was very wrong. In response to the little black one's statement that he would not go anywhere, Robin said that then he would have to hit both of them. The main character thanked the coach for his support and said that this was his business, which means he must deal with it himself. And the fact that Robin is a top-class martial artist only made the student happy. The master called him a daredevil and promised that he would tear him apart only with the help of throws and painful holds. Something happened inside Batten, and he asked if they had never met before this incident. He received a negative answer and the addition that if they had met earlier, he would now be eating through a straw. But despite this statement, the streamer's facial features definitely looked very familiar. And since Robin has been wanting to beat him for a long time, it means this has nothing to do with revenge for the Korean. The student's time to prepare ran out, and the master rushed at him with great speed. The guy appreciated this speed and noted that he no longer had time to dodge, so he could only rely on the speed of his hands. The top-class master was very angry and had already executed the first throw on his opponent. Before this fight, the main character had no idea that throws could be so painful. Tyler has already realized that no matter how capable his new student is, he is still powerless against Robin. It was difficult for the student to withstand such a powerful throw, but Robin ordered him to stand up and hold on like a man. All sweaty and tired, the streamer stood up with all his strength and asked if his opponent could repeat it. He grabbed Robin by the body and tried to practice his best throw on him. To do this, the main character grabbed his opponent by the clothes, as Mike had previously taught him. Still, he managed to put the man with long hair on the floor, but he knew that he could easily get out of this situation. Robin rushed forward with great speed, trying to quickly overcome the student. But Batten was also not a timid person. He was even able to turn the master upside down. All this time, the man did not understand where this brat had so much strength. Suddenly, he broke his promise and used a technique that his opponent had not yet learned. Tyler reminded him that the master was only going to beat him with throws and submissions. Robin realized his mistake and, as a penalty, told the streamer to attack while he just stood there. When the guy was one step away from hitting him, he suddenly realized that his facial features were similar to those of Kathleen. And Robin himself did not understand what the hell was going on, and why he wanted to kiss his enemy. Suddenly, the main character remembered that the girl had told him about his grandfather's generation, his 7 brothers and their surnames. After that, he decided to take a time out, and asked if Robin's last name started with U by chance. The master angrily replied that it was none of his business, and asked not to call him dear brother anymore. Then John asked what kind of brother he was, if not dear, to which he received the answer that he was the 7th. This made Robin more and more angry, causing him to once again throw his opponent to the floor with all his might. Then he asked why he didn't dare to dodge and suggested that the guy had underestimated him. But Batten said that the master could be with him as much as he wanted, and when he took out all the anger, he would simply explain why he beat him. The interlocutor said that there is no need to even hope that after everything that has been said, he will be able to avoid his punishment. And he added that if the main character does not continue to fight, then without resistance he will get even more. The man furiously asked him to beat him, even ordered him. But now the streamer will not dare to lay a finger on him. At this time, Tyler had